I'm Andy Parkin, Managing Director of the Multi-Award Winning Speed Screed. I'm here to talk about Self Leveling Floor Screed mix. I would say that I don't believe there is a Self Leveling Floor Screed mix, per se. Yes, a self-smoothing, but not a self-leveling. Please don't lay the screed and expect it to level itself. However, the term Self-Leveling Floor Screed mix is used extensively in the industry, and I will use it here. Self-Leveling Floor Screed mix is a cement-based smoothing compound supplied generally in 25 kg bags and mixed on site with water. When laying vinyl, ceramic tiles, carpets and other floor coverings, Self-Leveling Floor Screed mix evens out substrates, leaving a smooth surface to bond to. Self-Leveling Floor Screed mix and construction types. When we talk about Self-Leveling Floor Screed mix, we need to consider the different types of screed construction. There are three types. Bonded. And that's a very relevant one to Self-Leveling Floor Screed mix, as it relies on the bond with the substrate. Self-Leveling Floor Screed mix would be suitable for this type of construction. Unbonded is where you have a membrane in between the substrate and the screed. This type of construction is not something that would be suitable for a self-leveling floor screed mix. Floating construction is where you have the screed sat on insulation, be it acoustic or thermal insulation. This type of construction is not something that would be suitable for self-leveling floor screed mix. Sound substrate. When bonding, I think it's important to highlight the process when looking at the substrate. It needs to be sound. When we say sound, it needs to be solid. If you have crumbling, cracking or other issues, then action needs to be taken before laying the screed. There is no point in laying a self-leveling floor screed mix onto something that isn't stable, because it will only result in the screed cracking and or delaminating. Checks should be made to ensure that the substrate is not contaminated. Contamination can be a variety of things: oils, grease, dust, anything that may have gone into the pores of the screed, into the capillaries of the screed or the concrete. If there is some contamination, it may require some mechanical surface preparation, which may involve grinding, scabbling or shot blasting. If there is a paint on the surface, then it will need to be removed before laying the self-leveling floor screed mix. The surface needs to be cleaned and vacuumed if there is dust or dirt on the surface. Before the floor screed is laid, a primer needs to be applied to the substrate to assist in the bonding of the screed and the substrate. Sometimes it can go down without the primer. Always read the instructions before laying. Either way, you are going to need some penetration of the surface. It needs to bond, so it may be that you have to grind off the first couple of millimeters of the matrix to get down to something that is bondable. If the substrate is power floated concrete, then the top of the matrix will need to be removed to get a more open textured concrete that will allow the primer to penetrate. There are certain products that may go down directly onto a power floated surface, but again you would have to look at the requirements for each individual product. In general, you would be looking at mechanically altering the surface to allow for better adhesion between the screed and the substrate. Self-leveling floor screed mix thickness. Self-leveling screed mix thicknesses vary from product to product. However, as a general guideline, here we have the depths. Minimum depths are usually 2 to 3 mil. However, there are some products that can go down to feather edge, so that's going to be around about 1 mil and maybe even less. Maximum depths are around 10 to 15 mil. However, with the addition of bulking aggregates, normally kiln-dried sand, some self-leveling floor screed mix can go up to 50 mil. Self Leveling Floor Screed mix is normally used to smooth the surface of concrete and screeds when laying thin vinyl or thin floor coverings. Slight imperfections in substrate will show up in these types of floor coverings. A self-leveling floor screed mix will smooth out those slight imperfections. I hope this helps with your self-leveling floor screed mix questions. If you would like any further help, please get in touch.